Hey everybody, Brickwaffle here, and today I wanted to start out with something I don't normally do, which is actually show you what my skin looks like. If you've watched the server tour video, you've probably seen the statue that I built based on my skin, and I realized I've probably never actually shown you what I look like here in game. So this is me. Hopefully this gives you an idea of what that statue looks like by comparison. And I think I've just broken a few things here. Yep, there we go, put those back. Today what I'm going to show you is actually a way to put some of these skills with Redstone to use. The last few videos I did right before the server tour were about Redstone 101, 201, and 301, and I thought what I'd do is show you how some of that can all come together into an interesting little device. So arrow launchers are nothing new in Minecraft, and neither are creeper face monuments, but both of these put together will let me show off how to connect some of the things that you've learned how to build if you've been watching my other videos. So when someone walks up to these suspicious looking pressure plates at this creeper statue, they're going to be bombarded with arrows continuously until they step off of it. Now the other thing to note is if you do use wooden pressure plates for this, the arrows will stick into the pressure plate and keep this thing running even if they get off of the pressure plates, so you can use that. I don't want to do that because that's going to make this very annoying for me to pick up all these arrows while we're going. But I'm going to show you how to build this, but before I do, let's take a look at the back and see what's going on here. So behind this device, no surprise, you have a wall of lava, and that's what's going to help set your arrows on fire as they go through. You also have an array of dispensers that are hooked up and pointed out through the eyes and mouth of the creeper and all connected with some redstone dust. And that walks down a pretty simple staircase down to our repeater clock. And this has two repeaters pointed away from each other, a sticky piston that pushes a block into place to help power this clock, and then this redstone line runs back as far as you want all the way to your pressure plates. In this case it runs far enough back that I need a repeater to boost the signal, and that just powers this block. When it gets powered, you'll see that this block extends, completes this circuit, and that's going to create several pulses very quickly, as you saw, and that's going to follow up that chain and power all of these dispensers. So it actually doesn't require that many materials to build. In order to build this, you would need about a stack of blocks, more or less, depending on whether you're building this into, say, a cliffside, or if you're going to actually use clay, that sort of thing. Some lava buckets. How many you need depends on how much work you want to do up front. Here I actually went ahead and used 8. You don't actually have to use 8. If you put this up higher, like say in a mountain, and had a little row of runoff, you could actually have that lava spread and flow out back here without needing 8 lava buckets. So you could get away with 1 depending on how you build it. Obviously you'll need 6 dispensers if you want the dual array in the eyes and the mouth like I have. And then for the circuit at the bottom, you need 1 sticky piston, 1 redstone torch, 2 redstone repeaters, and some dust. Now how much dust you need depends on how high up you build this, how far away your pressure plates are, what distance you have to do in here to come around the side of this circuit and power this block without touching that sticky piston itself. Of course you could just turn this whole circuit and run your line straight into this block, turn this whole thing 90 degrees. That would work just fine as well. I had started building this before I decided to build the creeper face above it, and so I didn't feel like turning it. It doesn't really matter. I don't think for most folks a few extra redstone dust is going to be a big deal. But you will need some way to activate this. In this case I've got pressure plates. You could also make this a little bit more hidden by putting it somewhere else using a different mechanism to trigger it. You could also, instead of having this all trigger with pressure plates when you're near the creeper face, have a switch up in your base that lets you fire things out. If this was in the front of, say, a big tower you had, and someone was walking up to your base, you didn't want them there anymore, you could control it from inside simply by moving the redstone line up to the top of that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so to start off, we're going to need a frame that is 10 by 10, so that means this outside bottom row here is 10 across, and 10 up on the side. And we're going to fill that in one more so that it's a 2-wide frame, and that's going to give us the outline we're needing for our creeper face. Before we build that though, let's fly around to the back real quick. You're also going to need a trough that's 2 wide in the back and 1 deep. That's going to catch our lava. And if you're planning on using lava buckets all the way across the top like I did in the demonstration, you're going to want to block at either end here so that when you put a lava bucket here, it doesn't flow out past the edges. That's going to help contain everything that we've got. Underneath, you're going to see that we'll come down here in a few minutes, but we're going to come down 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then we're going to need an area under here that is 6 by 3, and that's going to let us build our circuit. Now in this tutorial we are going to build it facing the right way, so the line comes directly into the first block here that works our clock, and then you can see that behind this we've actually got a little bit of space. We can use that to connect out and eventually build up our pressure plates. But just know that you'll need a 6 by 3 area, and the middle of that's going to be where you come out and put your pressure plates in the last part of the video. So before we get to that, let's go ahead and build out our creeper face. This is pretty straightforward. You just come down 2 blocks, out 2, come down 2, on the third one come out 2, And then in the very center, you're just going to make a 2x2 shape here. That gives us our creeper eyes. Then we're going to fill this in by 1 on either side and give him some little teeth down here at the bottom, and you have a creeper face. That's a pretty easy thing to do, and in fact, for most of you, this is going to be the tutorial. You can see that's 2 blocks wide for the eyes, and the rest of this is pretty easy to follow. So next thing we're going to want to do is come back behind this, and where the eyes are, we're going to come out 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, and then take out everything in between. Then come across 1, down 2, and across 2. Then we're going to go up 2, and across 2 as well here at the end. Now you can take these out if you want. You don't need those. Those are just there to help us build. And then we're going to put our dispensers on top of these blocks, and that's why we don't want the lava here while we're trying to do this. That would make this very dangerous. You can see that this is going to line up with the face of the creeper here, so those arrows are going to shoot out through his mouth and his eyes. And then behind these blocks we're going to want to put 2 more, and then right behind these we're going to want to put 2 more, so you can hold down shift and you can do that. Then we're going to want to put redstone dust on all of this and cover it all up. And that's going to connect all this into our single circuit. Now from the back here we're going to want to come down 1, and then across here 1, and then if we can get under this 1, and then right here on the ground 1, and then right there, and we've now tied into our underground area. So before we get all the way underground, we're going to want to go ahead and put some more redstone dust connecting this all up. And I would recommend you don't actually connect this all the way until you're ready to go, because otherwise when you're testing and placing torches you might actually fire off some arrows. That's probably okay at this point since we have not loaded any of our arrows into here. Alright, inside here we're going to need some of this space to go ahead and build our mechanism. Now you can see this pattern in the floor. You can ignore that or you can build it yourself. That's to help me line everything up. If you are planning on building it, go ahead and pause your screen right here, put that in the ground, and then I will get back with you in just a second when you unpause. But you can see that this way is going to be where our pressure plates come in, so we're just going to throw a few redstone dust down there and ignore it. Later on we can figure out where that glowstone block is, and we can tie into that line. But the important thing to note here is we're going to start out by putting a block right here. And this is where the line comes in, so the beginning of this L shape we're going to put 1 block, and we're going to put a torch on this side of it, and then we're going to put 3 redstone dust in a row right there. Then we're going to put a sticky piston facing us from that block, a block on top of that, and we're going to put some redstone dust back here in the corner. Now for the repeaters you need to be very careful about your facing, so you need 1 facing in that way, and then 1 facing out that way. And that's what's going to allow this to get a pulse signal when it's connected. So we can now connect this redstone dust, and if you wanted to, you can put a pressure plate back here at the end, give that a test. You can see in the distance there, that's flashing. That means we built this correctly. So since that's working, we'll go ahead and just connect 1 more redstone dust, and our device is done. So let's go ahead and poke up here, and we'll see where we are. You can hear it clicking. That's a good sign. We just need to figure out where we want our pressure plate, so we're going to come back to about the same distance we had before, and center that up, let's see, right about here in this row, and then we're going to want that to be centered with those, so there and there. And then here we can see that we're a little bit off from where we want to be, so that's easy enough to fix. We need to come over 2, it looks like. So we'll just go ahead and knock that out. Come over 2, and we're just going to keep going back until we get to those pressure plates. How far back was that? Let's just go ahead and take a look. Perfect. So what we need is right under the pressure plates is some redstone dust, and then we can tie that back in. And you'll be able to see that. When that's on, it's powered up. Now we can't go more than 15 without a repeater, so let's go ahead and count that. That could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So right before that, we're going to punch that out. We might put 1 more repeater. Oops. Actually, we'll put a repeater in there. And that will make sure that when we come back up to the top, that our signal strength carries all the way to the device. And it does. So what you can do now is you can just fill in those gaps here. You don't need any of these exposed anymore. That's not going to interfere with your signal at all. So the next thing you can do, and I would recommend you absolutely do this before you place the lava just in case you get anything wrong, is you can go ahead and fill these all with arrows. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. And I'm just going to clear out my inventory here and give myself a bunch of arrows. And I'm going to speed this up because there's no point in you watching me do this. It's a little tedious. Alright, and now if we did this correctly, we should get pummeled by arrows. So it looks like everything is working as intended, nice and loud there. That's great. Now the very last step is simply to go ahead and put your lava in. So let's go back. I know I cleared my inventory from the lava bucket, so let me go ahead and grab one of those again. And if you're in creative mode, I don't know why you'd be doing this in creative on a survival server, but you can just come across here, fill that all in with lava, and that's all you have to do. So that's going to flood down, and as the arrows pass through the lava, that's going to both disguise your mechanism behind there, and it's also going to make sure those arrows catch fire. So one last test, and you can see a good majority of our arrows do catch fire as they're coming out. So that will ruin someone's day very quickly if they hit those pressure plates. That's all I've got for now, so if you like this video, please do leave it a like. If you really liked it, go ahead and subscribe and see more of my videos. I try to put them out every Wednesday. If you have ideas for future videos, anything you'd like me to do, please feel free to leave that in the comment section. I'm still trying to figure out what everybody really likes on this channel, whether it's Let's Plays, tutorials, the Minecraft Explained series, anything like that I'm happy to cover. Please do let me know what you find the most interesting and the most entertaining. As always, I've been Brickwaffle. Thank you for watching.